Hello, everyone. This is your host, Susan Rosen, and my guest today is Michaela Ellis. And Michaela and I have known each other for a little while now. We've been in a couple of coaching groups and have gotten to know each other a little bit better. And I asked Michaela to come on my podcast. So here she is. And Michaela has studied intuitive healing, and she is always searching for ways to live a happier and healthier life and how to help others do the same, which I think is a wonderful way to be living your life. Mm-hmm. And she has a couple of interesting programs, one in particular that she's running right now, which we will talk about. And I'm actually going to let Michaela tell us a little more about herself.
All right. Hello, Susan. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on.
It's a pleasure. Yeah. So, where to begin? I guess I'll start kind of at
we only have an hour.
How I got here. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll sort of lead into where kind of it all began with the, I kind of learned early on that where my strengths and passions lie, and it's with people and helping people and talking with people, and it sort of evolved over the years of how I really do that and what's great and what feels great for them and what's really helpful and what I love to do. Yeah. So a little bit about my past, and I'll speak because I do private coaching, and I coach moment to moment living, because really I believe like that's how life happens. So it makes sense. It doesn't make sense to me to break it out all. We can, but everything is connected, which is so delightful. And really, who you are being is who you're being everywhere you go. So in particular, you had mentioned the program is called Living In, and I kind of added it's kind of living in and through your body, with ease, comfort, and delight, because your body goes with you everywhere. And my experience with my body has been like most people, because it's with us 24/7. It's experienced a lot, and we experience a lot through it. And I have a colorful past of eating disorders and addiction and anxiety and depression and really low self-esteem and feeling overwhelmed. And I kind of muddled through all that one way or the other. Sometimes you look back and it's like, wow, how did I get here? How did that happen? Oh my goodness. But in 2020, I came across a really simple understanding of how things kind of really work. Like who I really am, not who so much about like what I am, and what I was actually experiencing in my life. And I think I've heard that because you mentioned I studied a lot of intuitive healing, so Reiki and body, all these kinds of things. And I had this understanding of being an energetic or a spiritual being, or that I didn't really get it to the point, I think there's always higher and higher levels of consciousness, of awareness that we can come to. And so just like a couple of years ago, things just really kind of clicked with this understanding of what I was experiencing. And I just saw so many things clearer and cleaner. And things started to shift. Things that really seemed like problems kind of started to fall away. And there were still some areas that were a little bit sticky. It's like, well, how is that meaningful here? How do
Right.
we create our experience with
Mhm.
our thoughts, which is really kind of what it
Yeah.
was about. It was
Yeah.
like we're giving life to the thoughts that go through the ticker tape of our mind.
Mhm.
And we grab onto some, we make
Yeah.
some more meaningful, and we give them attention.
Mhm.
And really, it's about giving them life.
Mhm.
So in this crazy kind of discombobulating thing, it's like we create our experience, we are living it, but it doesn't look like that in our human way of how we
Yes.
work. It's
Right.
not really clear. It doesn't look like that at all, unless you're willing to kind of like just slow down and see for yourself how it does. And see
Notice.
that, yes, noticing, it's the most powerful
Mhm.
tool, if you want to
Yeah.
call it, that we have. And it's so simple.
Mhm.
So really, that's kind of what I discovered. And, you know, my body and the image in the mirror, and
Mhm.
I've always had all of these judgments about it, and always came up short, typically. Not every moment. There were, you know, times when I kind of liked a certain body part. And then there was times that, you know, I probably highly disliked that body part. So it was like, well, what is really going on here? What is this? You know, if I'm a spiritual being and I'm creating my life, my experience of my life, if I'm feeling my thoughts,
Mhm.
what does that mean for the body? How does that factor in? And that's where this program was born, because I started to see it. I started to see how it's just like all other aspects of our life, in where we've, you know, we're born and we're taught about the body, and it's like we take on this, like that we are the body, right?
Yeah.
And that
Yes.
if it doesn't look like how society, or you know, your peers or whoever says that it's supposed to look the best way, like this is the ideal and this is not so ideal, then we kind of get all this mixed messages, you know, adding more to the, you know, the thoughts crossing our mind, which I mean,
especially women, especially girls and women, I think.
Yeah, well, it feels like that. True. And men too, I believe that they have the same. I'm working with women right now.
Yeah.
But yes, I think there is
Historically.
Yes. Yeah. Right. I don't know. I can't speak to that because I'm not a man. I've just, this program. I'm currently most of the way through a beta program, because I've not done it in this way before. So it's just with women. And it is pretty, I'm happy to see that it wasn't just me, because many programs, like, and I thought, well, I'm a human, they're human, they're spiritual being. We're living in this human body, right? But we're spiritual beings. We're kind of conditioned to believe that this is how it goes. This is what the body is. This is what it does for us. And we've come to believe that it decides our worthiness and our value. And it's so not true, right? And I've just seen that this is true for all human beings. It's not like, you know, I'm just going to bring, because there's so many exercise programs and different food, you know, nutrition.
Oh my God, diets and
right?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yes. There's so many, but it's like, yes, I've tried many of them, and many of them have actually worked for a little period of time.
Yes.
But it's like, I don't have it's like, you know, holding a ball underwater, an air-filled ball underwater is like, as long as you can keep the ball under the water, you're okay. But don't relax, because then the ball's out of the water, and then it's like we've failed. and then we beat ourselves up. So I'm seeing this whole like effort and strain and will, and it's like, okay, I'm going to do this. I want my body to be in this way.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's not even a way that our physiological body could even be. I mean, that's how it was for me.
Oh, my
it's
God.
just like, that is just not even available to me. Why? Where did I come up with this idea that I needed to be that or look like that in order to be?
Oh, exactly.
Have any validity and worth in this world.
Oh my God. Yes.
Crazy.
Yes. Oh no, I totally get that. I mean, I was on Weight Watchers when Weight Watchers first started.
Dry toast.
Yeah, I don't even remember half the stuff. I just remember that my mother took me to Weight Watchers because I needed to lose weight. I think I was in junior high school. And that just started it. That just started my whole life of dieting, and which I don't do anymore. I mean, I got over that and happened to find a doctor who understood all of this before I even came to the knowing that you're talking about. And so I was lucky with that. And I was in my 20s, I think, at that point. So I, timing wise, I was lucky.
Yeah.
Because if you wait till you're in your 30s or something, it's like almost impossible to take the weight off.
Oh, well,
I said almost.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Almost impossible.
And really, what is it? Like what I've discovered for myself and what I'm seeing is that we've agreed to things. Like there's an agreement where someone, like when I turned 50, it was like I went into menopause within a month. Menopause began, and there was some deaths and things that happened in my life, and I was depressed, and so it was like my thyroid was low, and you wanted me to go on. It was just, I was told these things of this is how it happens when you're that you're 50.
That's right.
It was like I was given the list of things and I bought into it.
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden I started putting on weight, and it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But it was then I didn't get that I'm actually buying, it's like I would say, no, I'm not buying into that.
Yes.
But on some level, subconsciously, I was still like those thoughts going across my mind. I was giving them, and I was actually using them as an excuse.
I was just going to say,
well, I have hypothyroidism. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so
whatever.
It was just, so we can just really innocently misunderstand and agree to things that we don't even know we're agreeing to.
Yeah.
So there's just, so this, how, I kind of lead people through, and whether it's in the program, Living in Your Body, or if it's just in everyday life, it's just really coming to the table with an understanding that we are innocently misunderstanding what we're doing, how we are actually creating our experience. And once we can see how simple it is, it's not, then it's just a matter of like, testing it out, have some fun, like play with it and see how it's true for you. I love to use, like, usually I have a bottle with, that I have in a water glass, and I use all kinds of props to show really what we are, what we're really doing, how it's going, like our the goggles.
Yeah, really, the goggles.
All of the goggles that we wear in our life, that is really, it's just a filter. It is just a thought. We've taken that, I'm 50 now it's time for menopause and all of the other things, and this is what's going to happen. And if I take those goggles on, which I did, and a few of them, I took that pair and I took that pair, and then that's how I looked at that's how I was looking at everything.
Right. Like, and then you couldn't see anything because there were so many pairs of goggles on.
Yes. So we kind of have some fun with it, and we laugh, and and come on and share different stories about, it's like, because things are then like sparked. It's like, oh my gosh, that's just like how this happened with me. And then we look at how it was actually a thought. What is between? I love taking a whiteboard when it's like, okay, well, what about here? You know, when I really do want to, you know, whether it's exercise more or, you know, cut down on something that I'm eating that, you know, it's like, it's bad for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, is it like, that's another story. But it's like, if you do, because I've eaten things too, where it's just like, I know if I eat a couple, I'm good. If I eat 3, 4, 5, not so good. And sometimes I'd still do it. Sometimes I still do it. And then it's like, okay, what's going on here? And just writing a picture of me. Now, what's in between me and the pantry or the fridge or the whatever it was? And it's like, it doesn't look like there's anything there. Right. Well, then how did you get there? It's a thought. So then we just kind of look into the thought. Anyways. Yeah. So it's fun. Humans are really fun. Yeah. Right? We're so curious and we're so interesting. So if you can really bring that curiosity and that noticing to all of this, whether it's your body or whether it's relationships with your family, because everything is affected by it. Yes. And it's everywhere. Yes. It's how life works. Yes. So it's like notice the thought that comes into your mind. And we use the body, our body, like it's the most amazing communication tool. It tells us everything we need to know. When we're so caught up in our thoughts and we have so much going on, you know what? All of a sudden, it's just like our shoulders are up and we're tense. And that's like, in that moment, just noticing, wow, I'm tense. The energy is broke because you can only think one thought at a time. You can only give your attention to one thought at a time. Right. Yeah. So as soon as you notice, and you might notice, and you might not notice, hey, I noticed my thought. You might notice, oh my gosh, or you're gritting your teeth or whatever is going on, or frowning, or and then it's like, I get the
clenching all the time. Yeah.
Right. And then it's just in that noticing, it breaks the energy and then allows a little bit of space. And that's what you're really looking for, that space. So you can start to hear your inner voice coming up. I've kind of been all over the map on this, but now that we're on the inner voice, it's like our inner guidance, our inner wisdom, the energy, the creative energy from which we came, made these bodies, brought an egg and a seed. And when they come together, they create a human being. That energy is in us. It knows what your body needs from moment to moment. So it knows what it needs to, when it's thirsty, you'll get up, thirsty. And then it's like, what if you just do what it wants, likely it'll put you to water. But if you go through this the think, what am I going to drink? What am I going to have? It kind of clouds it. It's like, I'm thirsty, go drink something. Just go do it. What do you naturally go to? The same with food. If we just really, like, what does not my taste buds, not my, what all of that. It's just like, just try and go to it calmly and just like, what am I going to lean into here? The whole test where you stand, and if you lean forward and then either your right or your left foot comes out, and they say that's your dominant foot. Have you ever done that test? Well, you can kind of, it happens. If you lean forward far enough, one of your feet is going to come back, is going to pop out. And it's like, I find it's something to play with for yourself, see how it goes. But doing that with food, it's just like, I'm hungry. Am I, I'm actually hungry. My stomach is, and it's like, what is right? It's like, I was going to have this, but I don't feel, it's like just kind of following what is coming
Yeah.
clean and clear without thinking.
Yeah.
What do I want?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah. Yeah.
you do a
Well,
lot
and
of play and experiment.
yeah. And the body is so amazing because you can do, and I can't think of what it's called, where you can hold something, like hold a banana or something, right? And you put your arm up,
Yeah.
and if your arm goes down, it's like,
Yes.
don't eat the banana.
Right.
If it makes you strong, then yeah, eat the banana.
Yeah. Muscle checking or testing.
Muscle check, exactly.
Yeah.
Muscle testing.
Yeah.
Yeah, muscle testing. And it does. I mean, it's true. It works.
Mhm.
It really is pretty amazing. I mean, somebody showed me that, oh my God, probably 30 years ago,
Mhm.
at least, if not longer.
Yeah.
And it absolutely works.
Yes.
And yeah.
And you can do that. There's all different kinds of ways
Yeah,
of,
no, I do.
muscle
I do.
checking too.
Yes.
Different. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But you have that in you. Like you will feel that.
Right.
If you
Yeah.
even just think about the banana in this moment, like just have a
Uh-huh.
and it'll be like, it'll either be like a pulling in, a tightening, or moving
Okay.
back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it might show up differently in different bodies, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you, as you allow yourself to play and notice, you will get it'll get strong. You'll become more aware of the signals of your body in that way. So yeah, you totally can know what we're designed
Absolutely.
right, with that energetic, that knowing to guide us to what we need and when we need it. And this week we were talking about who said breakfast has to be this, and who said that it has to, that it's eggs and bacon. Like in our household, sometimes we'll say we're having breakfast for supper, and that just means we're having eggs or pancake or bacon or sausage or whatever,
No,
but it's just
my
like,
mother used to do that a lot.
right. Yeah. But it's like, well, who said that's breakfast? Like, who said? Because really, does my body when does my body want it? That's,
Yeah. And who said we should all drink cow's milk?
Right.
To make our bones strong? Well, not everybody.
Yeah.
And probably really not most people, because of all the stuff they put in the cows, but we won't go there. There's so many things in our lives and in our culture to question.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, well, wait a minute. Where'd that come from?
Yes.
Who said that? And it's interesting because if you look at a lot of things that are from very, very old cultures or that are handed down, and you can see where they came from and whether they still might be helpful or not. It's kind of like it's like a game of Clue. I don't know if you remember the Clue with all the different things. But it's that kind of a thing. It's like, well, I can see why we eat that, because my family came from this part of the world or whatever, and that's what was best, and and all this kind of stuff. But the question is it still helpful?
Right. Yeah. There's so many different, and really you can muck about in all of those systems that have been created. And they are just not, you can test them out. But in the beginning, just like bring it in. Does it feel right? Not like, does it really feel like, can you feel like, I want to do that. I really wanted to do things, but I really only wanted to do them for a couple of weeks. And then after a couple of weeks, like, I really don't want to do this. I don't,
right.
You know,
cross that one off.
Right. So you can, But I think we can say, and ultimately, what I ultimately really am striving for in any of the work that I do, whether it's in the body program or just in life in general, it's like helping people to trust themselves.
Yes. Yes.
That is it. Once you realize and see that you actually can trust yourself. You can try it out and see.
Yep.
And it takes so much off the mind when you, instead of researching everything out here and just going in, it's just like, okay, well, this is the ultimate. It knows there's something inside of me from which I came. And that is actually what I'm living. I'm not, I'm living through my body. Mm-hmm. My body is not me. This pure energy it's got all the answers for me, me. And even in the work that I do too, I say, like, what is it for you? I know what works for me, and I'm learning more and more, right? We are human. So this isn't we're going to be human until our spirit leaves.
Yes, right? So we're not anymore.
Yes. So we're going to come up into all kinds of things. Our bodies are going to bump into all kinds of situations and people and all kinds of things. And we get to discern what is truth and what is story. Because really, everything that isn't, you'll get to feel the story because there's a lot of thought going on about it. And that's often where the tension and the stress and the, and when we start, we're working through like addictions and, the double bind, right? Where you want it, but you also don't want it, and there's a struggle. And it's like, what's going on? And actually breaking it apart, like just having a little look. We're not diving into the past. We're not spending a bunch of time there. It's like just being aware of what's causing you to do what you're doing right here, right now, in this moment. And it's always a thought.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. Totally.
So it's so, it's so fun. And when you when you notice those thoughts that aren't really helping you, that aren't really providing you or leading you to a place that feels good that you're experiencing, the more you just notice it, it takes the edge off. It takes the power off of it. It's like, it makes it more slippery and it'll just slip away more easily. Yeah. No,
excuse me, my nose is itching. I know for me, it was so huge when I finally realized all that myself as well, which was a couple of years ago. And just, letting it, because I was constantly reliving the past, and just going down these rabbit holes of yuck. And it was just so interesting because, as you say, after being introduced to this way of thinking, principles, or inside out, right? Ear is itching. Oh
dear.
Sorry. Isn't that weird? Anyways,
what's it telling you, that ear?
Yeah, really. It's telling me I probably ate something I shouldn't have. But what I was going to say was that it was just like, I didn't even realize when I was going through the whole process of getting it. And it was just like one day, I just felt, oh my God, I'm not dwelling on my past anymore. It's there. I can tell you all about it. But there's just no negative thought, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not beating myself up about it. right? I shoulda, coulda, woulda, all that kind of stuff, which is another way of identifying a lot of these things, right? Is when we start thinking about, oh, didn't make a good choice.
Yeah.
Right? And that has to do with food and exercise and a lot of other things as well, just as much as, oh, what job did you take or not take, right?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's that same kind of.
Well, and then there's the like, what is good or bad?
Yeah.
Like, then that's a thought too,
That's
right?
right. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The valuing. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And it's like we do that as humans, but when you kind of explore the, the understanding of, our living, giving life to our thoughts,
Yeah.
that thoughts are really neutral until we
That's right.
decide they're not, until we put a preference. Well, that was a bad idea, or that was a good idea, or, you can do all that, but really it's just like, well, that was an idea and I did it.
Yeah. And it
this
didn't
is
work
how
out
it
or it
worked out.
did.
That's
Yeah,
right. So it's like, and then and then I did this. I didn't do that again.
Exactly.
And yeah, but it's funny, right? That we get sort of like sticky to them. But it's just because we've kind of been conditioned that way. That's what we've heard,
totally.
right?
Yes.
Innocently from our parents and our grandparents and
That's
society.
It's like what we learned.
Yeah, that's right. We look at the past. We're looking at the past all the time. And it's like, okay, what about right here, right now? How could we just like let that be? And now, right, what did we learn? We probably learned something from it. So let's just begin anew with what we're going to do this time. What are we going to choose this time? Understanding that we're creating all of that. Yeah.
Oh no, exactly. And I think the other part of that as well is that we can't fix it. We can't change it.
Right. Yeah.
So learn whatever you're going to learn and keep moving on.
Right. Yes. There's a new thought. There's a fresh new thought available. That's another kind of thing that we talk about, because all of the things that we know, all of the, the things that we've heard, from our childhood and from the thing, for so long.
Society.
Yes. Right. And it's all in here. It's all in the known. It's called, like what the past and the future. It's just like, those are stuff, or at least the stuff in the past is what we kind of know. And we take that and then we throw it into the future with imagination. And we think that that's all, that's it, right? And it's like, that's when we forget that, oh my gosh, this, brilliant, wise, creative energy is also offering up new thought. And I have this ticker tape thing in my mind now. So it's just like, it's not just the ticker tape from our known thoughts, that it's like there's nothing new there. It's like, so calm those down. Let's see, because there's going to be more coming up, and they will be fresh and new. So a new way of seeing it, rather than just regurgitating and moving it around and twisting it and seeing it's like, well, maybe if I do it this way. It's like, what new thought is available that we can just see and try. It's like, well, how does that feel? And there's a feeling to it.
That's it.
Again, and here's where the body comes in, as this amazing communication tool. It doesn't lie. It doesn't lie to us.
No, sometimes it even talks to us.
Absolutely. Yeah. All the time.
Yeah. And I think the other piece of that, which I think you were kind of talking about, but you didn't specifically say, is that there's the present moment.
Yes.
Right.
That's
and if you blink, you missed it. So if you're staying in the past, or you're futzing about with the future, the only place you can create is in the present.
Yes. Yes, very good. That you're right. That's
Yeah.
where your inner wisdom is coming up.
That's right.
It's coming up in the
Exactly.
present. So
That's
our
right.
the stuff that we know, it's either about the past or the future.
Yeah.
It's either memories or it's imagination.
Yeah.
And you can use all that.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
actually
Yeah.
really seeing lately how our intellectual, I'm kind of seeing that there's a lot less of my intellectual knowing, understanding. I'm not going to call it knowing, understanding that is needed in creating. I'm finding that the more it comes from inside, from that energy, the more that comes for, it's like, it's way more fun for one, and it's lighter. It's not so heavy.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
coming out of here is just like, there's so much thought going on. It's
Yeah.
a feeling of heaviness.
Yeah. Right.
So it's quite, yes. So this whole thing about being the present. And here's the thing, this doesn't go anywhere. It's with you all the time. So even if you're not responding in this moment to what you're getting, it's going to come up again in maybe the next moment, or maybe several moments down, or maybe next week. I don't know. That's the future. We can only go with what's here, right?
Yeah.
In this moment, I'm responding to that clean and clearly. It's more clean and clear. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. No, that's I like that, clean and clear. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Boy. Well.
Yeah. I don't know if I answered all the questions.
Yeah, no, you
come up.
did. You did. I was just all that was coming up was kind of like, well, gee, I'm not sure there's anything else.
Okay.
I mean, I feel really complete that we kind of talk through where you're coming from and what brought you to create the program to help women, and not that men couldn't necessarily get helped by it, but right now you're just helping women.
Right now I'm just testing it on and testing it and having people play with it, right, and see how it goes. So it's great. We're all learning a lot and seeing more possibility for how we can do it different the next time. So next month.
All right.
Fun. It's fun.
No, I think that's great. Great. And I will post your website in the show notes.
Great.
So people will know where to get a hold of you.
Great.
Maybe
Great. That sounds
coaching and or whatever program you do next.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I'm trying to think. I think that's about it.
Okay.
I mean, at least for me, I think it just seemed like a really nice place to.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you. Yeah. I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks so much for having me.
For sure. Yeah.
I've loved it.
So I'm going to do my usual spiel at the end, which is that neither of us are doctors. We are not medical professionals, and anything that you hear on here is not to be taken as medical advice. And if you're having any medical issues, please call your own doctor or go to the emergency room if that's what's necessary. And with that, I will say thank you again. And to all of you listening or watching, I will talk to all of you next week.